Sort of prick I am. All right, that's just about ready to go here, counsellor. Not quite. That would be us. Edit privacy. It's a bit go slow. So what's going on there?
Your thing.
Yeah, that's all. Edit privacy. That's all right. Oh, wait. I'm not going anywhere. Change the audience. And I reckon on that note, good sir, I think fair to say.
Ready to go here, counsellor.
Almost. Live. And that's us good to go.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to episode what?
7, I think it's
7.
I think it's up to episode 7.
2.
Season 2.
Right,
Mate, we'll be doing this longer than Alan Jones and who's the other bloke? John Laws.
the parrot.
We're around longer than Lawsy. You know, that sounds all right. We could do that.
How's Jonesy going? He's struggling a bit.
I don't know. I haven't spoken.
About as good as Marty Sheargold at the moment.
Marty's. Oh, look, I had a look at that. I didn't know who Marty Sheargold was until this morning. I couldn't have picked him out of a police line.
No.
But apparently, if you turn around and say that you really have no interest in women's sport and you think they're shit, apparently that's a sackable offence.
Well, and I don't even know whether it's that in relation to the poor performance of the Matildas per se, because they really have. They had their little
moment in the sun.
And they played really well, and everyone got behind them. They had all of Australia behind them.
Right up until they started asking for a statue.
Yeah, and then
a few of us kind of went, really? Come on. Like, we were really happy to see you girls do this, but now all we're getting is lesbian relationship exposés. And I don't mind that you have a lesbian relationship, but
not even that. But also we've got the Sam Kerr issue in the UK.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
It's just, and I think he said something in there about a bunch of drama queens and Year 10 students. Well, it's exactly what it is. It's dramatic, childish bullshit.
And they have just had one of the worst tournaments they could possibly have. I think they lost 3 straight.
Well, I think they lost one an hour ago.
Yeah.
And I can't pretend I didn't laugh.
No.
Like, and it's, there's probably some players in there who, oh, for fuck's sake. But, it's the whole go woke, go broke thing, get too far above how special you all are. And I don't mind women's sport, but this whole, we deserve equal pay. We don't, because you don't put that many bums in stadiums. You put a few in for the World Cup in Australia, for sure. But overall, there's not that many people watching, not that many people who care. Slightly more people who watch the women's soccer than watch the Spin Doctors. But then in saying that, they all get paid a shit ton of dough. We do it for free.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, thanks for tuning in Thursday night, which is always tomorrow's most informative, accurate, and best quality media release of the week. Consistent. Absolutely top tier.
Yes, and truthful.
Truthful, honest.
Factual.
Well, factual or certainly opinion, where opinions are relevant. But
we try and back up our opinions with fact.
Absolutely. And
honest and direct. We do our homework.
We do some homework on occasion, don't we? Anyways, Councillor Irvine, you better do your
my intro.
Your intro. Yours is more important than mine.
Mine's important from the perspective that because I'm on Temora Shire Council, they seem to think they own me and they own everything I say and they own every opinion that I have. So my name's Anthony Irvine. I'm a councillor currently on Temora, serving on Temora Shire Council. However, the views I express here are my views and mine alone and not those of Temora Shire Council.
Well, that seems fair and reasonable. Are they surely your views?
They are.
They could be mine. I know, but I'm your apprentice.
But there's all sorts of ways that codes of conduct and things are written that they're written in a way that if you hurt someone's feelings or, say something that's not full of rainbows and sunshine.
Rainbow sunshine and ingratiatingly wiggling your tongue into certain local officials' bottoms.
Yeah,
you get into trouble.
Well, it seems that some do and some don't.
Do they? Yeah, right. Well, my intro is far less important than yours. Obviously, he has to do it because otherwise he gets letters and they waste.
No, I get them anyway.
And they waste ratepayers' money saying,
no,
boy, you can't say these things. My intro is I'm Dean McRae and I couldn't give two shits what they have to say about anything, really. Opinions are mine. The facts that we produce here, we try to back up with absolute evidence. Nobody owns me. Nobody's bought me. And I've usually put my money where my mouth is or my actions where my mouth is on anything that I kind of stand on.
No,
that's the meat and potatoes. And this is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, the finest piece of programming coming out of Temora ever, without a doubt.
By a country mile.
Country mile. The only thing that ever got close, it was, I don't know if you were aware, there used to be a little radio show on down at TMF, FMM, but are they still, I think they might be defunct now, but.
No, they're still going. I saw someone down the street selling raffle tickets today, but I didn't get a chance to buy it.
You did? Oh, look. I was speaking to one of the last year's sponsors who ironically received a phone call about, would you like to renew your sponsorship? After, I can vouch, because I was actually in the room when the phone call occurred, a certain president of said organisation rang said sponsor, hurling abuse and demanding that I be removed from, I don't know, fucking everything. He had a bit of a crack at Marty Sheargolding me, which I think he savagely underestimated just how the world works and just how important Pterodactyl FM is in the grand scheme of things. So it's ironic to say I think there's another sponsor probably departing or not going to spend another $1,000.
Why would you?
Why would you? That's right.
Why would you spend money sponsoring a nepotistic
but more to the point, for $1,000 for a very modest listening range, why would you put up with some geriatric fuckwit ringing you and hurling abuse at you and telling you how to run your business so that you can give him money for his 2-bit radio station?
Yeah.
Like what sort of sensible executive or boss or owner of a business is going to go, I really appreciate this call. Thanks for telling me what to do and yelling at me and calling me names and explaining X, Y, Z. By the way, give me $1,000. How lucky are you?
Yeah.
Like, what sort of deluded fuckwittism is this?
Yeah. It's tough love on a whole new level, really.
It's window licking spectacular. Like, put on your hard hat, put on your fucking vest, and sit there and lick the windows so you don't hurt yourself. Chew your crayons, and keep writing me shit letters because I'll keep posting them.
And I have not dialed that. My radio just doesn't go to that
station anymore. I think there's a few people like that. In saying that, there's a fair few people that, I'll be honest, were only listening on a Thursday night between X to X, just because, well, it worked. Anyway.
No, but it was typical of this bullshit censorship, and even to the point that we've experienced it even in another shire over at Coolaman.
We talked about it last week. I've had phone calls and text messages about the individual in question. Turns out he's a serial communist lunatic, control freak psychopath.
Well, the most, and this was the article, and it was in the Temora Independent last week in the Coolaman Shire News. One of the comments from this individual was, we all should remember that truth is always the first victim of social media.
Well, what's his name? Who was that gerbil? What's his name?
The Mayor of Coolaman, Dave McCann.
Well, Dave, you're a jackass. There you go. But he's an absolute jackass. There's no doubting that.
If I go on social media and I search,
this bloke is not the be all end all and arbiter of truth. It's like Australia's got a truth commissioner now. Like, have you seen some Yank Sheila is apparently in charge of what's true and what's not in Australia because she says so. If her feelings are hurt, apparently we're all banned and we're telling lies. No, calling you an imbecile is pretty close to accurate, honey. And if the truth hurts, tough shit. That's life. But as a free speech advocate, you can call me nasty words too, and I'm not going to get offended because I don't really care.
But Dave McCann uses he's got his own personal social media.
Well, see, I might have a look.
And he's also got, he also uses Coolaman Shire Council social media, and he's got his own page, Mayor David McCann, Coolaman Shire.
Oh,
Mayor of Coolaman Shire. He's got 107 followers.
107?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now,
allow me to bask in your glory, son.
The views expressed and comments made on this social media platform are my own and not the official page of Coolaman Shire Council. This page is intended to provide information to the community on council issues.
Be careful, councillor. Be very careful.
Well, but typically what it means is Mr. McCann has got the opinion.
He's entitled to his opinion. I support him having an opinion.
No, that's good. But,
Yeah,
but his
sure.
opinion is, and he's expressed it here in the mainstream media,
Mainstream media.
traditional media. What would we call it?
Dying media?
You could call it that.
Dead media? Media that's going backwards fast?
Irrelevant media.
Irrelevant media?
Media that's on its last legs. Media that's clutching for...
Any way to stay in existence
Actually,
and keep people buying their $2 paper?
We should probably be copping some sort of kickbacks for even...
But for promoting some of their stories. Oh, look, and that's...
So,
they did that. Let's be fair. In the last 12 months, you and I have had plenty of coverage in this paper.
Yeah, well,
and we've had a few front pages. They wouldn't have had anything to report about if you and I weren't doing you and I shit.
Yes. Well, this is really disturbing when he says we all should remember that truth is always the first victim of social media. Yet he's quite a liberal user of social media.
I'll bet he is.
But I think it's one of those opinions where if it's my opinion, it's right.
Yes.
And everyone else's opinion is wrong.
Yes. Not only wrong, possibly misinformation.
Yes. Disinformation.
Disinformation, misinformation. If I haven't given the instruction, it's not real.
Yeah. No.
And you're obviously evil and a fascist.
Well, they
like that. Or you're possibly a racist if you don't agree with them.
Yes, and I think that's what the gulags were invented for, people such as that.
Yes.
Pol Pot took care of them.
Yeah.
There's been people, Stalin took care of them.
Wasn't that a show?
Well, they all take care of them.
Oh,
those people who've got an alternative opinion.
No, well, you can't have that. If you're going to do it, first thing, stop their guns. Second, stop their freedom of speech. And then third, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want with those mere minions, and they will not have any ability to oppose you. Unfortunately, we won't go anywhere.
Now, the reason that Mr. McCann is topical at the moment is because he's got a few volatile issues that are bubbling up over at Coolum Shire.
Oh, no.
Now, there's a local business person who is trying to establish there's, as I understand it, this individual was building...
Have you spoken to this bloke? Do you know him or?
I know the fellow personally from a long time ago. When I was
you haven't had any contact with him relative to all this excitement?
No.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So the story was that he got DA approval to build a shed. During the process of building the shed, he had the brainwave idea that maybe we could actually ramp this up and build some sort of a reception centre, a venue, something to generate some income, attract people to Coolum, create some employment.
Yeah.
So he's gone back to council and said, okay, give me the list of hoops that I have to jump through to go to the next level on this project. They gave him a list of hoops. He jumped through all those hoops. He thought, okay, thanks, give me a piece of paper that says I can operate. They said, oh, no. We've got more hoops. He said, but I jumped through your hoops. They said, oh, no, we're the Department of Hoops.
Give him an inch and watch him take a hoop and add a hoop.
We've got some more hoops for you.
And I oppose asking for DAs for anything. Bugger off. None of their business what a person does on their own property.
So,
if you're not affecting anyone else, mind your business and bugger off.
That's the key thing. If you're not affecting anyone. Anyway, hoop after hoop after hoop. I think the individual...
Well, sorry, if you're not affecting anyone else negatively, building a wedding reception is probably going to positively affect people where they can go and
positively
utilise
affect a young kid who's looking for a job and part-time work and maybe a chef or, all sorts of people.
Yeah.
Now, Fred Ferner got to the point where he's basically had a gutful of the double standards and what he considers. Now, this is what he considers, and this is coming through social media, but reading some of the stuff that's been going on. Basically, he's saying, I've jumped through all your hoops. Now you've added more hoops. You're putting hoops in front of me that you don't put in front of other people. Yep. Why are you doing this? I feel like you're singling me out for some special treatment.
I'm getting special treatment in the negative context, and I'm not happy with this.
Now, after a certain point in time, he's basically come out and said, you know what? I'm not even going to progress this. It's so difficult. And that's a real tragedy for him, for
Coolum, for anybody who wanted to listen.
there's other people.
Oh, look, your mate there's probably owns one up the road and he's busy.
But there's
setting his
someone who
own up.
wanted to establish one down at Ganmain, and the list of requirements that were put in front of them to establish something at the early stage, and they treat these people like rock stars, like, oh, you must be a multi-million-dollar business person to be,
Yeah, having the ambition to try and build something on your property that you've worked so hard to bloody acquire a mortgage on.
and they put insurmountable obstacles in front of these fledgling businesses that basically buckle them before they can establish.
And there are also obstacles that have no business being there.
No, look, some of them have got every right to be there,
No,
but in some measured way. You know, if you're going to generate high volumes of traffic, and we know that we live out in a dusty environment, then ultimately you do need to do something with the road in terms of gravelling it or paving it.
or not. You're on a gravelly road. The road is what it is.
No, but there's some negative impacts for your neighbours.
Potentially,
Yes,
possibly.
yes, but
Depends where the neighbours live in.
the thing is, how many people are running trucking businesses out of premises that aren't authorised for that? Or, this is the thing. Some of these businesses develop. Let's sit back and let it develop. We're not going to go the full Monty until we work out whether the thing's going to be viable.
Well, that's right.
But no, the way that the development application process is that you've got to have this full-blown thing. You can go in balls and all, and then find out that your balls have been chopped off. And then all of a sudden you're ballless. But no, seriously.
And more to the point, you're up to your balls in debt and
Yes.
your eyeballs, and you're going backwards fast.
Yes.
And then your local parasite's taking a piece. Then your state parasite's going to want a piece.
Everyone
then your
wants a piece.
Yeah, and they have done nothing.
But
Bugger
this is
off.
the whole thing.
Just-
They sit there and they are an absolute tapeworm on.
Here's the DA process. You own the property. Yes.
You're going
You
to put
wanna-
up the
you wanna-
capital.
you wanna
Yes.
do something.
You're going to
Yes.
do all the work. Yes. We're going to get in the road and we're going to make it difficult for you. We're going to put a lot of hurdles in front of you.
Whereas what it should be is, here's the form that says yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Done.
Is there anything we can do for you?
Yes.
Is there anything we can do to facilitate this?
Since we're stealing all these rates from you, can we advertise your new business on our website?
Since we want to progress our community, since we want to progress the town, is there anything we could possibly do to facilitate this?
Yes, get out of the way.
Yes. Well,
Just get out of the way.
no, but even like they had a dispute. I understand. Reading the information.
You're reading the yes.
I understand that there was some sort of a disagreement over when the applicant finally put in the application for the next level of venue. Council then imposed on him the requirement that he had to pave or bitumen the side road leading to his property.
Yep.
Now, they had it in their program of works to do that work.
Yep.
So he turned around and he said, well, hang on, you've already budgeted for that. You've already said you're going to do it regardless of whether my business is here or not.
And then you want me to
And
pay
now
for
you want to tag that on my ass. It's like pin the tail on the donkey. I'm not a donkey.
Yes.
He said, so I'll delay it by 12 months or 18 months or whatever it takes for you.
So
Marcus,
finish
to
your
do what you
project
said you
on
were gonna
your
do
budget, not
anyway.
on mine.
And then I'll progress the
Pardon
business.
me.
Like, it's got this real tit for tat. And once it gets degrades to that stage,
It's not even worth it.
well, it just breaks down and people take positions and these positions become entrenched and they become very stubborn, becomes very personal. We've only got to look at the debacle that was the Farmers Home Hotel at Maddon.
What happened to the Farmers Home Hotel at Maddon?
There was a developer came in there. Now, the hotel was hanging on by a night. You know.
Like most regional hotels are these days.
Well,
They're
this is
hanging
in a
on by-
very small village.
Yeah, how
so
many
it's a-
people at Maddon?
Oh, if there was 100, like that would be an exaggeration, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. It's tiny.
Absolutely
Yeah.
minuscule.
It's almost as many people as our mate's got on his Facebook page.
Yes. Yeah, Dave.
Dave, our mate Dave.
Now, can you imagine?
Dave's now in my club.
It's like Beckham.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
So, Springdale, for example.
Yeah.
If Springdale had a pub,
There's a handful of houses and there's a pub there where you can kind of go and do shit.
yes, but so there was someone bought it. They started doing unauthorised works because they hadn't put a DA in. Council came down on them like a ton of bricks. There was no communication. They
What
started
council would it be out there?
Coolman.
Oh,
Same
same
one.
Muppets. Yeah, right.
Same one. It devolved into this quagmire of litigation.
Sure.
And
They
in the
love
end,
litigation.
but
It's
in
their
the
favourite.
end, there was an unfortunate fire, and I think the council got the clean-up bill.
Yeah, right.
So they got a legal bill that I don't think they recouped. No, this is I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think they recouped it.
Yeah.
Then they got a clean-up bill that I don't think they recouped.
Yeah, right.
And the community lost a hotel that was marginally viable and in the best conditions.
Yes, yeah.
So thank goodness that Coolum Shire Council saved us from unauthorised building works.
Oh, look, you can't have that development happening without somebody, getting their cut.
Yeah, and
it's no different than when the mob used to do it in New York or other places. You got to pay your mafia tax.
yes, but when these things are so borderline and so marginal, and then you go and put these
You've got
layers of
little
compliance,
power-hungry little wankers all trying to justify their existence.
and the compliance is 2025 compliance. The buildings were built. Some of these buildings were built.
Yeah, 1800 is not like
They're well and truly approaching the 100-year-old mark.
Yeah.
And they were built like they've got faults, they've got issues. They struggle to meet fire code, they struggle to meet electrical code, they struggle to meet so many of the codes, health codes with the kitchens. They struggle.
Yeah.
And it's unviable for any of these businesses to go and
unless you walk in there with $5 million in your back pocket to literally pump into an old
so
shitty
literally
building.
you might as well just take it out the back, pour petrol on it, and burn it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
$5 million,
it's not going to go far,
mate. It is going to go down the toilet.
Yeah.
So
we have seen it a million times. We discussed it.
there needs to be some measure of compliance, because here we are in 2025 and we've got builders building multi-level apartment complexes in Sydney,
And we've got all this compliance,
Yeah,
and it doesn't work.
Well,
It doesn't work.
but the government in their wisdom,
It doesn't work.
well, this is the thing.
It will never work.
The government in their wisdom allowed self-assessment or
Sure.
independent
But
assessors.
but as soon as they go the other way, who cares? The money's still going to change hands to somebody else.
Yes,
Somebody else is going to be bought off in a
but
different way.
we've got a tower that's been built called the Opal Towers.
Yeah. I remember seeing all the
It's
60 minutes or whatever.
uninhabitable.
Yeah. And people got ripped off. And people went in there and they spent all their hard-earned money on it. A couple of things there. I feel sorry for them. 2, unfortunately, shit happens.
No.
3,
No.
if they happen to be alligators and
No.
decide to go and eat the people who did that to them, I would be more than understanding.
Unfortunately, shit happens. No, unfortunately, shit doesn't happen.
Well, it does
because
happen. It's happened. It's
but we've
happened.
got-
All the
no.
compliant regulation in the world, and they've got another.
That's right. That's right. So realistically-
more regulation is not going to fix it.
no, realistically, it's got to come back to the government, because there's been a breakdown in their regulation. Because a non-compliant building's been built.
They build them all the time,
No,
and they've got all these rules, and they've got all these.
when I say non-compliant, I mean an uninhabitable,
We just spoke about
structurally
hoops.
unsound.
We just spoke about hoops, and there are bylaws upon bylaws upon rules, and
But
all these things do is mean that the
No, but
alligators
even
win.
Even in the city. So this was a project that was funded. It was viable. It was financially viable. They had everything in place. They built an unsound building
They did.
in today's climate.
That's
with
right.
Engineers, with inspections, with councils, with permits, with DAs, with
And none of it stopped them from building a shit building. None of it.
and ripping all these poor bastards off.
Yes.
And you've got people now who are paying rent in an apartment
as well as a mortgage. Yes.
in a shit fight.
And not one regulation saved them from that. Not one regulation,
Well,
not one rule, not
surely-
one government agency.
This is where the
not one-
government needs to take responsibility, because
They took responsibility. That's how they're in the mess in the first place. All these rules that are there, every barrier, every single one of those things, when they're unscrupulous operators, they're going to be unscrupulous regardless of what the unscrupulous government tell them to do. Asking the governments that create these rules, that create these problems, create these roadblocks to regulate the problem that they cause.
The government outsourced the assessment. So they said, okay,
Sure,
we
but
can have private assessors. So you've got a private assessor who's getting most of their work from one building company. And of course they're going to be
They're going to tick every box, of
Yes.
course. But that still happens when
But
government.
the
There were still uninhabitable buildings being built when the government was regulating that shit without the layer of separation.
No, and
the only reason that the layer of separation is of any value is now the government go, well, it wasn't. No, that was them.
Yes.
That's the only difference.
But the poor bastard who's been,
and there's still going to be people who are going to get raped and pillaged.
But I think those individuals have got a case to come back at the government and say,
absolutely, they should.
Yes,
they should sue the arse off all of them, every single one of them. And I know some badass gangster lawyers. Go and do it. Fuck them up. I'm all for it. But turning around and saying that government needs to fix it, government made it.
If the government outsources or allows private certifiers, and then they don't oversee the private certification.
As opposed to corrupt in-house certifiers.
That's right. But they don't oversee that certification process, then blame should seep back with them.
Sure, but you're still only changing hats on which corrupt entity is going to do corrupt shit.
If someone wants to put themselves forward as the government and they want to have the power and the oversight, well, back the shit up.
But they're never going to do that.
Or piss off.
We've spoken about this a million times.
No.
I keep all the good shit and go in the paper 500 times a week.
Back it up.
But as soon as there's anything negative, it's not mine. That's no different. That's the whole show.
You can't have both.
They can and they do.
No, you can't.
They can and
they
do.
can't.
They are.
No, we're at the point where you can't. So this is where the Opal Towers is. We're at that point where no. So you even want to outsource private certifiers, and then when the private certification process goes haywire, you run a mile. No. You set it up. You didn't so there was no oversight over the private certifiers.
Well, the private certifiers would have had to be certified, so they would have gone and done a government-approved course to get their certification.
Yes, and where did they get that out of a cornflakes box somewhere?
Absolutely,
out of the boot of a car, in a car park, in a dark alley.
I don't know how many little bullshit certificates you've done in the last 10 years. You know,
no.
2 years ago I went and did a stupid food. Now I spent the best part of 20 years. As a professional chef, I never managed to kill anybody with food poisoning. We're only going to do a food safety supervisor.
Yeah, that's all shit.
And for $150, it's relevant for a year.
Yeah.
And that's all shit. And you look at that and you go, that's crap. But it's a very important certificate. Responsible service of alcohol. You need to have that so that at least when somebody is shit-faced in your pub, you can ask them to leave. Crap.
No,
crap,
it allows them to pin the blame on you.
That's right.
If there's a problem after.
And what do you think that was with the private certifiers? We just want to separate it, put a second degree of separation.
No, but this is the whole thing. If you're not going to oversee the private certifiers, then
they did when they created whatever course that they went and did to get their certification.
No,
the
government's still responsible.
God, I don't want them responsible for anything because they're a fucking disaster. They built the Opal Towers.
They built the Temora Town Hall, and it's got a non-compliant access, disabled access.
That's what I'm getting to.
And that was built by, now, the project manager was Chris Dunstan.
Sure.
Chris Dunstan is the Director of Environmental Services at Temora Shire Council and a certified building inspector.
I have no doubt. I don't know what he's got on his CV.
And Temora Shire Council have taken grant money, public money, and built a non-compliant building.
Sure.
We had an architect.
I don't doubt.
We had a project manager who is a director of council and the building inspector.
Yeah.
And it's non-compliant.
And you've just told me that we need to get councils and government to look after building compliance in Sydney.
No, I'm saying what they need to do is they need to take responsibility.
Oh, yes. But you're never going to get that. That's like asking, can we go down to council chambers tomorrow and ask for a pretty unicorn?
No, but I have to take responsibility, and they want to put responsibility on me for all my actions. Every word I utter, word I utter on this show, they want to hold me responsible.
Absolutely,
true. They want to hold me responsible for. But if somebody else does something absolutely abhorrent and wastes hundreds of thousands of dollars of ratepayers' money, there's no accountability.
No, there's no accountability on it. We take accountability for ourselves anyway.
Well,
I put my hand up for all my good, bad shit. I make plenty of mistakes. I do plenty of right, do plenty of wrong. I cop it on the chin. Here's the problem. Nobody in government, the type of personalities that want to be in there, are the ones who want to take accountability unless it's all peaches and cream and there's a backhanded deal, maybe a nice little property deal they can get their hands on. Everybody's excited about Dutton's little, share deals. Of course he knew what was going on. They're not stupid. They know that they certainly know enough.
Nancy Pelosi knows.
Yes, that's exactly right. They know enough to make far better bets than the average punter. Yes. And even if they're not directly insider trading, they're indirectly doing it. And it's just a big facade.
They can certainly direct policy to...
Even if they're not directing it, they can be sitting in a room while it's being discussed, see who's voting which way, text their wife, girlfriend, husband, broker, whatever. grab 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, spend it on that. Drop it on there. 2 weeks later, that company's tripled because just magically got a government grant. Don't know how that happened.
Bet the house on
Look, I'm just really big on the environment. This company seemed like a good bet. And not to mention that in Parliament they were talking about X, Y, and Z, or in the back rooms behind Parliament where where all the interns shag and the like. But
in the prayer room apparently.
Prayer room as well. Look, I don't know.
Get down on your knees and pray.
I've spent a bit of time with quite a few staffers over time, and I've never actually gone in there and hung out or anything. Not really my
That's
scene.
sick shit, isn't it?
But it's what happens.
But no, I'm just talking about the prayer room at Parliament House is being used for sexual encounters from, I think, escorts.
I think it's fair to say, though, throughout history, prayer rooms in churches have been used for a lot of inappropriate sexual things as well.
Allegedly.
Well, no, there's been quite a few that have been proven.
Yes.
I'm not saying all, but I'm saying in certain instances, there has
On
been
that note,
plenty of...
one of the most disgusting humans that never should have been allowed to perpetrate the number of crimes they did was a Catholic priest, Ridsdale, passed away.
Yeah, right.
In custody this week.
Yeah, okay.
And good riddance.
Yeah, right.
And I'm pretty sure he would have gone down to the basement.
Yeah, right. No, mate, we all know how I'm all for the wood chipper, mate.
Yes.
We grab these kiddie fiddlers and we launch them in there. I'll do it, no problem at all. I'll watch it spray out. I won't have a problem in the wide world. Catch you fiddling with little children, let's sort you out. Straight into the machine.
Back to the issues that this individual faces at Coolum. Now, I put a post up today. Someone said, what's going on? I said, look, the only way really to solve this now, because it's become a little bit nasty.
It's too nasty now.
But they need to have a community forum where the aggrieved individual and the mayor, Dave McCann, or him and a couple of council representatives can attend.
You would think so, yeah.
And they can take questions from the floor. So if someone reckons that the developer is taking the piss, they can actually frame a question and ask the developer and just say, are you taking the piss and what's the background of that?
Yeah.
The developer can put his case, they can put their case. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. Few facts, sort it out. And then there's transparency and accountability.
Sure.
Because that's one thing that's lacking in most government departments.
All government departments.
Yes. So that's where they're at. I don't know whether they're going to get to that, but it really is blowing up. It's a bit unfortunate, but I know just how nasty councils can be.
They're a delight.
No, they can be really nasty.
Well, as a shareholder of Temora Shire Council, I think it's very important.
In the corporation.
Wow, that is what it is.
Yes.
And, I feel that we should treat it like an ownership stake. We should manage it like we own it.
Well, but they won't let you.
I'm not big on what I'm being let do.
Yes,
that's not my
this is the problem. I'll give you a couple of examples in a minute of just how absurd the system is and how frustrating it can be to actually do something sensible.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on to that.
All right, let's do that.
But we've got the local rag.
The local rag.
The
Temora pretty solid dingle on the front page.
Yeah, they
we got some Dukes of Hazzard going on in town.
A bit of a coming together. That's a bit unfortunate, but anyway.
Council recoups just 5% of its total sports ground spend.
Now, this is what we spoke about.
We started that last week.
Yes.
Yeah. I told them how to do it. Privatise as much of it as possible. Act as landlords.
Well, the thing is,
stay out of the way.
Is there a situation here whereby build it and you will pay? If it's a bit hard from my perspective to, would you like a brand new shiny swimming pool? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. We'll get you one. Okay. Now you have to pay. Hey. You didn't put all that in front of us at the start.
That's what every election cycle is. You know that, yes.
So there's a little bit of that going on. There's no...
The best pool in Australia is still the Barm Edmund pool.
But even to the point that if you're going to offer to build and manage these facilities, you've got to give the users the full upfront. This was one of the big problems that Temora Shire Council encountered out at the airport, because when they attracted the initial investors out there who built their homes and hangars, there was no levy that council imposed for airport maintenance. And it's only been in later years that they've introduced this levy for airport maintenance that wasn't there in the first place. And it caused a lot of angst.
Which levy, for another word for just a tax.
It's a tax.
It's a rort. It's another theft. It's another little extortion.
And the people out there, and I believe rightly so, felt very let down because that was something that was imposed upon them after the fact.
Yeah.
So they've gone and invested and built, and they're enjoying the lifestyle.
What they've purchased.
And if council have been naive and they have provided something at lesser value than maybe it cost to maintain, you've got to look at council and you've got to say, well, you're a bunch of spuds.
Oh, look, I say that every time I look at not just our council, but every council. I feel the same way.
Then to go and then impose levies on people, and after the fact, it always causes bad blood. And I think this idea now, one of the critical lines here, and this is coming from the mayor.
Oh, I can't imagine the mayor being in the Temora paper. That's an unusual place.
And it's a bit, I find it difficult when the mayor talks about some of these things. And I'll just find the bit here that's...
You need to go through with a highlighter. That's what you need to do before every program.
Now, some changes suggested in the report include recovering some costs from junior sports, which currently operate without charge. Well, newsflash, recovering costs from junior sports is going to actually impose costs on their parents.
Yes.
Because the kids ain't going to turn up because the kids ain't got jobs.
Well, correct.
So the kids don't turn up and they're not running their own show. So basically what you're saying is that the parents who are already suffering, so you've got parents here in the middle of a cost of living crisis who are going to...
It's only non-government employees that are having a cost of living crisis.
That's true. But they are going to be hit with additional charges because, there's one thing to say junior sports.
Well, and here's the other thing, and I'm about to work out whether or not I'm shelling out X amount of dollars.
But junior sports currently operate without charge.
Yeah.
But when you levy the charge on the junior sports, it actually falls to the parents.
Of course it does.
And if you've got a larger family who's got 4 or 5 kids, you've already got quite a challenge to meet the costs of education and clothing.
And look, all these children's sports are so over-insured and over-regulated as well that it's already fucking expensive to have your kids playing sport.
Wouldn't
Plus
it be nice,
out here in the bush, all the travel on top of.
Even if you could register your little human to be, this kid's going to play sport in Australia this year. Yes. Here's his insurance policy.
Yes, as opposed to one per every sport.
Yes, because that's what they do. They double dip across all the sports.
Ah.
So if your kid wants to play 4 sports, guess what? You're playing
4 lots of insurances. Yes. I've got private insurance. Thanks very much. I don't need yours. I'd still like my kid to play your sport, but here is the insurance policy, private insurance policy I pay. No. That's unacceptable.
No, you must pay.
I don't want to pay that.
Pay.
You must pay.
Pay.
You must pay.
Pay.
Because we have administrators.
Pay.
Because we have useless bureaucrats in sport that need to be paid.
Yes.
That's very important that they get paid, because if we didn't have useless administrators in sport as well,
we wouldn't have to.
And I'm not talking about the voluntary ones. They're great. They're the backbone. But these wankers that, as you get further up and up, and all of a sudden you're in Football New South Wales and there's like 48 executives and 500 secretaries, all just so they can keep Sam Kerr
You can't get a whistle for your local sports.
Yeah. But no, not a chance of that. Like, what a load of shit.
No, so this, I think this is a little bit disingenuous in that something's got to give. Council recoups just 5% of its total sports ground spend. Yes, but council also spends ridiculous amounts of money on codes of conduct.
We know that.
The community's got to say, are these necessary? The code of conduct costs logged by Temora Shire Council in 2024 was $40,933. Now that would go a long way to paying the costs that they're going to levy onto the community for the upkeep of the sports ground. So, I do believe that there is a user pay element to all of this.
Sure,
But-
I'm all for user pay, but I'm also for cut rates at every opportunity.
And I
cut,
think
cut costs, cut government costs at every opportunity and put far more user pays.
so. I think it's completely disingenuous and it's a beat up, and something's got to give.
Well,
Yeah, I'd say cut out the codes of conduct and you could probably pay or put this off for another 12 months.
possibly, yeah. I had a bit of a. I've been debating with some people on Twitter lately. I like to do it; keeps me sharp. It's good fun, you see.
Well, I'm sure it is.
And I don't know if you've spent any time on Twitter. It's a bit of a cesspool, but now that Elon's kind of taken handbrakes off, you can kind of, it's a little bit more fun than just getting blocked permanently by snowflakes and sensitive individuals. But I did have this avid Labor Party supporter. It's amazing, I don't get called out by both sides. They don't like me very much. I don't give a rat's. But about the Medicare. Oh, Labor's doing this for Medicare, and anybody who doesn't like it should hand their little green card back.
Yeah, Albo's just gone. What's he committed?
Oh,
Billions.
8 billion or something.
Yeah.
It's easy to. It's no drop in the ocean when it's not your money. But my response to this individual, I said, look, that's fantastic. Tell you what, you show me where I can get a refund on all the money that comes out of my tax non-voluntarily every time I go to work that covers said little green card, and I'll be more than happy to redistribute that in my own finances to cover my own medical care as I see fit and as I require it as I need. That's fucking I think I got called a racist for such an attitude. It's always funny. I mean, how they come up with racist because you don't want to pay that shit. But I'm happy enough to have the little green card because I pay for it. I haven't voluntarily chosen to pay for it, but you fuckers are charging me anyway, so I'm going to use it. So when they say if you don't like taxes, don't use the roads. I'm paying for it anyway, dipshit, so of course I'm going to use it. Make it a user pay system. I keep that amount of tax and I'll decide what I want to use and what I don't want to fund.
Did you watch the RFK discussion around Ozempic being put on the Medicaid or Medicare costings in the States?
Not specifically, no.
Ozempic's a drug developed by...
They're using it for fatties to get less fat.
I think it's developed by a Danish drug company. They've got the...
Arguably, I reckon,
No, you just need a bit in the bank. But Ozempic's, I think it's a Danish drug company that have got the patent.
Right, yeah.
RFK's response to that was 70% of Americans are considered obese.
Yes.
So potentially if you put it on Medicare or Medicaid in the States and it's met by the state, then the cost of that drug...
It's going to go up.
No, it's trillions.
Yeah.
He said, so would you believe that you could probably provide 3 meals per day of organically grown, healthy food for every American for that amount of money?
That does not surprise me in the slightest.
So his argument that should not be on the Medicare or Medicaid
tab,
I think's relevant.
Yeah.
And that to me is a far more common sense approach. Let's address the problem, not treat the problem.
Yeah.
Let's
stop trying to solve people when they're already fat. Let's get them eating healthier, doing more sport,
let's this idea of a pill. The idea of a pill.
I
can go and eat deep fried lard every second meal.
Yes.
And sugarcoat it.
Of course.
I can eat sugar out of the packet.
And wash it down with a bottle of sugar.
Yes.
And top it with a little sugar cake at the end because you know a touch of sweetness.
And when I got a little bit of pudding, I just take a tablet.
Take a tablet or a little injection or whatever. It's so good.
Or you can eat healthy whole food.
Yeah.
Organically produced.
And move your ass and go and do some walking or running or hit the gym, whatever you like. Yeah.
Anyway. So that's that retarded, ridiculous, absolutely absurd situation we're talking about. Now, council fights for Lake Centenary.
We discussed that last week as well. Has there been some developments with that shit show as well?
No, it's just more of the
just a regurgitation of the fact that, trying to drum up an enemy.
I think so. They need an enemy. We've got Polly's at the club coming, so local MPs to attend tomorrow Q&A session. Residents are soon to have the opportunity to meet and question our local politicians with member for Riverina, Michael McCormick, and member for Cootamundra, Steph Cook, attending Polly's at the Club next Tuesday, 4th of March.
Are they interested in some friendly debate? We can do that.
No, I think it'd be pretty heavily controlled, and I don't think they'd want to answer the hard questions.
Oh, well, that's no fun. I don't mind a good verbal debate. I enjoy them thoroughly.
They're both in opposition at the moment, and we don't know what they're going to bring. Anyway, I don't think. Well, look, we need an enemy. Might as well be the Labor government, because they mentioned that Lake Centenary might happen to be in the Lachlan catchment.
Right up until they all go in the same room, and then they violate free speech laws together and do everything they can to dilute the vote of any minor party.
Yes.
Because heaven forbid that their duopoly was crushed.
Yes.
So they're only enemies so far as when it suits, and for as long as it suits.
Yes. Now,
spaz.
There's a very interesting article here too, because it seems as though the mayor has.
Was this guy in the paper 4 or 5 times again? Have you done a count?
No photos.
No photos.
A lot of
Maybe
text.
they took notice of last week, taking the piss out of the fact there were so many, so he's just getting written stories now.
There's a lot of text. He would have been writing a lot of articles to create the content.
Where's Wally? I'm gonna get one of them books.
Now it's just here, believe me.
So while you're looking at it, now I come across a post earlier.
Here it is. Sorry.
I don't do that one first.
Do it
while it's fresh in your mind. Do it while it's fresh in your mind.
I'm just going to highlight this because it's reprieve for bank closures. Now, this is something that was done by the Albanese Labor government. And they put a moratorium with the big 4 banks on the closure of regional banks.
Right, yeah.
Until 2027.
Right.
Chairman of the Country Mayors Association of New South Wales, CMA, Mayor Rick Furman, OAM.
I was in charge of that one as well.
Yes.
It's amazing what happens when you want to be in charge of every committee known to man.
Has welcomed an undertaking by the big 4 banks. Oh, they did it willingly. To keep regional branches open until at least mid-2027. Even in that opening statement, they can't actually give Albus Snoozy and his cronies the credit for actually putting a bit of pressure on the big 4, saying, come on, boys.
Well, there would have been a backroom deal. Here's what would have happened. The 4 to 6 bosses of those banks would have been each bank would have been in a room with Albo and his couple of stooges. There would have been half a dozen Liberal Party stooges in there as well. No, we've got to paint a picture here, guys.
We can't offend the banks.
We can't offend the banks, but we also look. We've got an election coming up. Right, we're looking like a bunch of pricks. What can we do here? Oh, we're going to put a moratorium on. That's what we're going to do. Well, what do we get in return? Well, in return, we'll bring back this rule over here that will make you billions.
Yes.
But over here, we're going to make sure you keep them little shops open for at least 5 minutes a day with some poor bugger employed down there. That's all they're going to do.
Well into the article, the mayor goes on to say, our members applaud the work that the federal government has undertaken to deliver this outcome through ongoing negotiations with the big 4 banks.
That's lovely. That's so lovely.
So this council is so backward. In the last term of council, I had to take a proposal that council support in principle the provision of banking services at Australia Post, so that they create an Australia Post bank.
Yeah, right.
To fill the gaps and to give an opportunity and some competition back to the big 4 banks, to put some pressure on them.
Yeah.
To actually fulfill their social
obligations. Well, they don't have any social obligations. They're a company. And they're companies.
Yes,
and they have no social obligations unless they choose.
But if they choose to walk away from the bush, and then we find another alternative, and we choose to use that.
Oh well, we should be free to do that as well. I have no problem with Harry's banking coming and starting up his own bank out in the bush and go and bash the big 4 up your bum whatsoever.
But listen to this. This is an example of a committee. Now it's the Country Mayors Association. It would have about as much pull.
There'd be plenty of pulling, I imagine. Pulling would be a key factor.
Okay, there's plenty of pull. But
I can't imagine there'd be a lot of power or influence. There'd be an awful lot of that bottom wiggling, but whatever.
Now, the statement goes, the CMA, Country Mayors Association Board, will seek every opportunity to press the case for keeping rural and regional bank branches open. We would welcome the opportunity to work with the federal government on co-designing approaches to addressing the problem. So a bunch of country mayors from New South Wales are going to sit down with the federal government and co-design.
Oh, you can just imagine.
Mm.
Well, let's be fair. The federal government can't run a bath.
Break
I
out
can't
the
imagine.
expenses
I can't.
budget.
I
Break
can't
out the
imagine adding
expenses.
a heap of extra spazzes into the room is going to make it any better. Like,
What on earth do they hope to bring? It took me 2 goes to get Temora Shire Council under this current mayor to actually support the concept of a post office bank. Now he wants to be in the room
when they
with
make
the
the
federal
decisions,
government co-designing what it's going to look like.
then run for federal parliament.
Well,
Lace your boots up, run for federal parliament, get yourself into the room, have a bit of a crack, put your balls on the line.
it's
And
just
see where you
absurd.
go. Of course, it's absurd.
Give me a job. I want to be important. Here we are. We're country mayors. We want to do something.
Mum and Dad said I'm important.
Oh, and I want some expenses, and I want to go on a trip. I want to pack my bags. I want to walk into the room.
Do you
and
know who I am?
tag. Have a name tag.
Oh, how funny.
It's ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous, mate. And it's just, like, I've been laughing at these plans for as long as I can remember. It just does me head in, and it's farcical.
So irrelevant.
But I'll tell you, that's what I was cruising the internet on Facebook the other day. Old Bookface, it comes along.
Yes.
And it turns out that a little town nearby, relatively near, is in a position where they don't get to have an Anzac Day this year.
How?
That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked.
No, but what would cause that to be the case?
Allegedly, according to the Post, they can't afford the $900 insurance that they're about to be charged for having their march and their event for the day. So, as the Post went, and again, I'm paraphrasing the Tullabajul Community Committee, whatever the little progress company, whatever it is, put out release statements. I'm assuming they're the guys that have been organising it for the last X amount of years. I don't think Tully has an RSL club or anything like that there.
No, Tullabajul's got the Mayfield Hotel. It's got a general store. It's got a stock and station agent, a fuel distributor, postal services, but
not much more than that.
I think there might be a primary school.
I don't think I've ever been to Tully, right? Now it looks like I might go out there and spend Anzac Day because that sort of annoys me. But so I spotted the Post. And the committee statement, which I'll put it on my Facebook page. So, anybody trying to go, what the hell is he talking about? Have a look on there. Pardon me. They've basically said, look, they're struggling to get Anzac Day done. And they sort of thanked the sub-branch of the Lake Kajelico RSL Club for, I don't know what you're thanking them for, because obviously they didn't get your Anzac Day up and running. So I'm a little bit confused about that portion. But one of the key factors in there was $900 it's going to cost for insurance to be able to hold the march and the whatever for the day. And we just can't cover that cost. So my first instinct, because it's me, I just went, if that's all it takes to have you guys have an Anzac Day, I will pay the $1,000. I'll find $1,000 for our veterans and our communities to be able to celebrate our Anzacs.
I think if you put a
I'm sure I'd have it in 15 minutes.
If you put a GoFundMe up,
mate, if I turn around
if you put a GoFundMe up tonight, I'll put $50 into that GoFundMe, and there's only needs to be another, and yourself will put $50 in. That's $100.
Well, another bloke on the thread, I'll chip in half. Another bloke, I'll chip in. So immediately, all somebody had to do was really just kick the game off and go, this is a non-problem.
Yes.
So then, and again, I don't know the people in this committee. A friend who's a bit supportive of all this on Facebook, she's out that way. That was kind of how it come up on her feed. I said to her, give them my number. If these people need some help, I've got good relations with the Pro Patria Centre in Wagga. I've got some very, very good veterans connections. Like I've done a fair bit of work in and around the veteran space. If we need to get soldiers out there for things,
and this is
we'll knock this up in an hour.
I got paid my councillor fees went into my bank today.
Yep.
And that's exactly the sort of thing that I would convert my councillor fees into. I've got no problems with my councillor fees spending that on the cost of a formal access application for a GIPA thing, or running costs to go to NCAT to get information on behalf of the community. That's it's like donating it back
Yeah.
To the community. It's community funds and it's donated.
Well, I don't know much about setting up GoFundMe's. I've usually used PayPal fundraisers or
whatever happens. But
But
like
what I did was I sort of just said to this friend of mine,
Yeah.
give them my phone number.
Yes.
Whoever's on that committee, tell them to give me a call,
Yes.
or or get
It's
their
not a
phone
problem.
number. I'm happy to. I will solve it, and I'll have a Tullabajil
Yeah.
Anzac Day up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy to say to anybody who kind of feels like doing something a bit different for Anzac Day, why don't we get a big crowd? We'll all go and camp out there around that, have some camping grounds and whatever, support the local hotel, and then we'll put on a hell of an Anzac Day for Tullabajil, as opposed to letting it die in the ass out there. And
I'm happy to commit some funds to it. I can't attend because I've got a 80th for a very important uncle of mine.
Well, that's fair.
That I'm going to attend.
That's fair. But I had a bit of a chat to some of my aspirational Australia buddies out in Dubbo and places sort of, I guess, they're half kind of thing. First thing, let's do that. That'll be awesome. Let's how much money do you need? So I'm quite happy to arguably throw in the 1,000. But does that mean we've got another 5,000 to make a hell of a show of it, make it the biggest Anzac Day in Australia? The one that was about to die. There's a media story there if anybody's in media is serious.
Well, Camillo can.
Does Tully come into this paper, like that area? Not quite. Well, they shows out at West Wyler.
But I think the group owns the Lake Kajeligo Times.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm sure.
I'm just one. I'm a big advocate.
I'm sure the owner of the paper bought the newspaper at Lake Kajeligo when they bought.
Yeah, right.
The Independent.
I mean, regardless. I mean, a little small town wants to run a Anzac
bullshit.
Day.
Why?
And what council does that come under?
But what arsehole insurance company?
Yeah, well, 900. I mean, listen,
won't underwrite that as part of their social license to operate in Australia.
Well, we're not going to get stuck into social licensing because I don't believe they exist. Really, I think that's kind of
no. But if you want to sit here and rip the guts out, like how much money
we allow ourselves to be ripped
how much
off
money
by
would the insurance companies make out of the ag sector in television?
Of course, they're absolute gangsters and thieves and parasites, and we know that, and we keep letting them do it to us over and over again.
No, you don't have to, but you can self-insure. But
that's what I'm saying. We allow them to rape and pillage us, and then we're all surprised when they don't chip in for these things. They're not obligated to. Rapists don't give you a cuddle after they violate you. That's not how it works.
No, they kick you in the guts.
So we've got this bit of a thing that we should be thanking our our violators, and that they should be doing all these wonderful things for us. No, they're violating us regularly. But anyways, anybody who's interested in that kind of spin on the Tullabajil thing, I'm not quite sure because I haven't heard from the committee yet.
Anyway, just see what
I'm happy enough
to develop.
I'm happy to let it develop. I'm happy to talk about it on here. But anybody who's kind of interested in that as a concept, reach out and we'll see what we can do. The other interesting thing that's kicking off next week is the Country Hopes.
Oh, the
rally.
Yeah, Redneck
Country
Rally.
Hopes, Redneck Rally. It's not Redneck anymore. You're not allowed to call it that. It's the Riverina Rally for Life, is it?
No,
they don't call it Redneck Rally anymore. I'd remember that. I wouldn't have any problems remembering that if that's what they use. I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 teams from tomorrow. So check me if I'm wrong, guys, but there's 2, maybe even 3. I think there's a husband and wife and a husband and wife who are going in 2 separate teams. And then I think they're obviously kind of doing it together. And then a couple of local lads as well. So great cause. Jump on either team, any team, whichever team you can get onto. Throw them a few dollars. Great cause. Kids with cancer and all that sort of.
And raising money through the roof. I think they had a target of 400K and they're well in excess of 500 already.
Yeah. It's a massive, massive event. They take these old rally cars, they do them up, they put some shiny stickers on them, or Irvine Signs put some shiny stickers on them, and we all tip in a few dollars to help a good cause. So one thing that a lot of people sort of don't really understand is that I am so against government doing all these things that relative to my means, I try to do as much of that stuff myself so I don't have to rely on those parasites doing things that I consider good work. I try to do it myself. I put my money where my mouth is, or my physical time, effort, and energy where my mouth is, which it's easy to be pissed and win. It's
called the Riverina Outback Rally.
The Outback Rally. There we go.
2025. It's for Country Hope. All the funds raised go to Country Hope.
So
the local team, what do they call
themselves? 2. We've got Tipsy Throttle, which is Daniel Smetana and Joel Skidmore. Yep. So many of you guys would know those lads, and I know Ben and Danielle Reardon and Daniel and Virginia Wood
Yeah, right.
are on the tour as well.
Good on them.
I'm not sure how their team structure's laid out or whatever, but I think it's fantastic stuff. Good to see people who find a good cause and again put their money, their time, their effort into good causes.
And they'll have a good time.
They'll have a ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win.
Absolutely. It's actually getting off your ass and going to do something and not using other people's money per se. Obviously, it's other people's money. When I donate, that's my money, but I'm doing it voluntarily as opposed to just stealing money and then redistributing it as you deem fit.
Now, onto the local Temora Council.
Are they still here?
Yep. Now, they're currently in the process of developing their strategic plan, their long-term 10-year strategic plan. So we had a workshop a little while ago.
Nigel Judd might be mayor by the time that 10-year plan comes around.
Well, we won't have a heavy vehicle bypass, I can guarantee you that. And a lot of my ideas will have come to fruition, but they will have found a way
to be somebody else's name
to leave it long enough or to formulate some way that they can take responsibility for.
I don't doubt a few of mine are going to end up up there on somebody's bloody...
So I want to take this opportunity just to put a few out there that I've put forward, so that in a few years' time when they come to pass and other people are trying to take credit for them, we can refer back to
episode 7, season 2. The Spin Doctors go, this is where it come from.
That was his idea, and it was there because there was a few people who were, what would you call them? Procurers.
Procurers of good ideas.
Procurers of good ideas, collectors of good ideas. They've made a career of other people's good ideas taking credit for them.
Let's be fair. Donald Trump could cure cancer, and Robert De Niro would still call him an evil fascist who, is obviously a racist, sexist, homophobic Nazi, and whatever the fuck else. So just sometimes it depends where the message comes from.
Well, that's the whole thing. The devil. Now, I made a point of bringing down last week's
Bugle. That's
newspaper.
Two of those things I've got to be in the same room as.
Last week's newspaper, because there was talk about this heavy vehicle bypass. And the headline is 60 years and still no bypass.
It shouldn't be as funny as it is, but it is quite hysterical.
The proposed ongoing Temora bypass was high on the agenda when Regional Transport and Roads Jenny Minister, I think. Yeah, so they've left out the word minister, but Camillo's efficient with words.
That's all right. Look, it's not like he gets paid to do words.
Met with Temora Shire councillors, council staff and member for Cootamundra, Steph Cook, on Monday. Now, would you believe I attended that meeting? Now, I got there a little bit late and I wasn't in time for the photo and I never got mentioned being in attendance. But anyway, that's okay.
Oh, Christ.
Now, although the bypass was discussed, there was little for Temora community to get excited about. As the minister said, it's a project that's been on the card since the 60s. We need to look at freight issues in and around Temora and right across the state, she said. Council gives some really interesting perspectives on the bypass.
Oh.
And I think there are certainly things we can have a look at there. So that's really the most ephemeral, unsubstantive comments that you could possibly make that are almost
like a pony.
It's like just a smell where what was that? And then it's gone. There's nothing to it. So, okay, I'm the person who put forward a proposal that would take heavy vehicles out of the main street.
Yeah,
where we're going to use secondary streets in Temora to put the trucks on.
Yep.
Some minor alterations, achievable, manageable, affordable, doable.
Yes.
It won't happen. It's way too sensible. It's possible and sensible, so it won't happen. Anything that's possible and sensible will go into the shredder. No, we want to be sitting here in 2040 or 2050. We can have the centenary of the bypass that never was.
We could actually start we could start like an event to cheer. Well, did the bypass get done? No, we're bypassing the bypass for another year.
Well, if it started in the 60s, That's 40 years. We're 65 years. Look, if I can hang around for another 35, and I'm feeling strong.
You're feeling strong?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you're looking good. You're looking fit.
We can have a centenary of the bypass not happening. We can call it the bullshit bypass.
Bullshit bypass. Oh, we can do that.
Bypass the bullshit bypass, whatever you want to call it. But I'm telling you, I'll probably have had a bypass by then.
Could have done.
But the town won't have a bypass.
Yeah, yes. That's what happens, mate.
Well, that's one that I've put forward. That
That's
would work. Possible, sensible, affordable.
Yeah.
Won't happen.
Yep.
Now,
oh goodness me!
I just want to put that one down because I got absolutely flogged by Peter Marnie in the paper. I got flogged by people in the council. It was an absolute.
I remember.
Oh, it was a piss take, wasn't
I
it?
remember, but that guy's a spaz, so who cares what he puts in his paper? Really, we
How
only
dare that
we
individual-
only do it because it's fun for
How
content
dare that individual be independent of thought?
and have an idea and put something forward.
I'm the group editor of the Tour Independent. Whatever you do, don't be independently minded.
Well, let's be fair.
The Tomorrow Independent, that's group think.
The group editor thought Elizabeth.
Group editor.
The group editor thought Elizabeth Taylor was running the show.
One of the leads came unplugged.
Poor bloke.
And the
Can't read,
individual
can't
started
write,
having-
can't count.
Started having conscious thought on their own.
If my profession was reading, writing, and articulating words into a newspaper, which it's not, I've never earned $1 doing such things. But if that was my career and I was as shit at it as this bloke, I'd probably walk up and throw myself off a bridge.
I would look at myself in the mirror every morning and go, "Wow, I'm a failure."
I would be pretty disappointed in my lack of
and I'd be
capabilities.
sort of just going to work, going, "Wow, I've just wasted my life.
I wouldn't be going to work. I'd be, look, no,
I've wasted my life."
I think we can do.
I can
better.
sit back in old age knowing that I just really wasted my life and I was really shit at what I did.
What is it like knowing that you are completely incompetent?
Yes,
It's got to be hard to live with.
I don't know.
I've tried to be shit at a few things.
I'm pretty shit at most things I start off doing, and then if I stick at it long enough, at work,
but that's the difference. But if you're a first-year journalist or I don't know,
no.
If you're a first-year journalist,
you're group editor.
But if you're a first-year journalist and you're making mistakes that my 12-year-old would make, I'm going to give you a bit of grief for that.
Oh,
I'm going to
you're a
probably
journalist.
say you're a bit shit because you got
You're
your little bit of piece of paper. If you're a group
You've
editor,
got spell check.
if you're a group editor
got spell
and
check.
there's spelling errors in the paper that you're editing with spell check and all the tools that are there. I did one today. Sometimes I put car ads up, right, on Facebook and Marketplace and things. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving this Chat2 GPT shit. I'm having a ball. It saves me hours a day. I want this. These are the details I need. This. Make it sound fantastic. Remember, I don't get paid for my words. I'm not an editor of a newspaper. Actually, what they do sometimes with it is it'll write, "No worries, Dean. We'll do that at the start of the ad. Here's an ad for you." And I was in a hurry. I just pasted the whole thing. And I went, "Oh shit! Hang on, I better delete that." Now, if I can manage to delete that and find that error, I reckon a guy who's paid that's his job all week. He's got even let's say he's a spud who just does 40 hours a week. I don't know many useful people who just do 40 hours a week anymore. Most people are, like professional people. I mean, obviously there are people who do part-time and what have you. But, if you're a full-time group editor, that's your career. I'm talking about career people. I don't know many career people that only do 40-hour weeks.
But really, what I think this guy does is a glorified version of what kids do at preschool, gluing and sticking. It's called cutting and pasting.
Of course, that's what it is. The
Now,
guy's a potato.
It's pretty clear that this whole article was given to them word for word. And
Absolutely.
yes, that was written for them.
Look, and you know what?
This article was pretty much written for them.
There's
a number, even in this.
I spent many years where I would sit there with I had a friend of mine I think he's still
That
a journalist.
article there was written for them. That article was written for them. That article was written for them. All of their content turns up written for them.
I used to create, not me directly because I'm not a writer, but I used to have a mate who was a bit of a journo, and I'd say to him, help me write a heap of press releases for various candidates in various electorates, and we'd write it up, we'd tart it up. I'd go through it and make sure the content made sense. You make it sound like an adult wrote it, and then we'd email it off to every newspaper in Australia.
Yes.
I've done that for many, many papers.
No, I understand. Anyway,
Train Monkey can do it.
heavy vehicle bypass. So I've put something forward. It won't get up because it's way too sensible, way too affordable, and way too achievable.
And you put it forward.
Oh, the devil. Now, I've got an idea and I've put this forward and it's got the full support, or it did have, when I checked last, the full support of the Lake Centenary Management Committee
Yeah.
to establish a wetland, the taboo word wetland, that Steph and Rick are fighting against. They're fighting for Lake Centenary because the New South Wales government proposal to have Lake Centenary identified as a prescribed wetland.
Well,
You know
that's
what
very
wetlands?
important.
I'd like to see a wetland. I'd like to see a wetland at the in between the town drain and the lake.
Sure.
And after the wetland, I'd like to see a formalised water ski run. Now,
You've mentioned that.
Yeah, I spoke to the engineer at council,
Yeah.
and the engineer at council said,
That's Rob, yeah?
Rob Fisher,
I've never had much to do with him. I've never had any dramas with him.
engineering manager. So I don't think he's got full engineering qualifications, but I think he manages the engineering department.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
That's my understanding.
I'm not a mechanic, but I sell cars. I get it.
If someone's got a better interpretation of that, please feel free. That's my understanding of it. I don't believe he's got formal engineering qualifications. I do believe he has got charge of the engineering department.
Yeah, right. Okay, fair enough.
And council have got, at the moment, because these people come and go, I think there's one, maybe two engineers working in that department at the moment. Anyway, in a casual conversation, I'm not going to hold the guy to it to the dollar.
Yeah.
The conversation went along the lines of the natural landforms are basically there. The levels, the water already goes there.
Yeah. It's already heading in that general direction.
It's already flowing in that way. We don't have to pump uphill.
Yep.
And we don't have to move.
And every time we have massive amounts of rain, you can see where the water goes. It's
we don't have to
clear.
move huge amounts of soil.
Yeah.
So, and realistically, it's not that expensive to move dirt.
Yeah.
You know, it's expensive to move rock. It's expensive to drill through rock. It's expensive to try and drill holes in the Snowy Hydro scheme. Moving a bit of dirt
Fine
around
government
tomorrow
project, that one.
isn't overly expensive. So I've put forward this proposal.
Yep.
It's got no air at the moment, but it's a really common sense proposal, and it's the next phase for the lake.
Yep.
Now, it would
Which is a pretty good asset.
The lake's a great asset, and the
Absolutely.
foresight of the people. And look,
People
if you
originally
go
put
back
that
and
out.
talk to the original committee, they said that there was all these roadblocks and all this negativity. Well, here we are, 40 years later. There's all these roadblocks. There's all this negativity to add the next phase.
Business as usual.
Okay, so my proposal is to put a wetland at the end of the town stormwater collection area, and then between that wetland and the lake to put in a formalised, purpose-built water ski run.
Yep.
So that's my proposal. It'd be fantastic. It'd create tourism. It'd improve the quality of the water in the lake. It'd improve the quality of the water going out of the lake. It'd improve the Lachlan water catchment.
Yeah.
There's probably, in a sensible world, funding available to do projects like this. Now, if that clean water goes through Lake Centenary and then goes down Triggerlong Creek into Bland Creek, into Lake Cow, into the Lachlan River, well, maybe the state government, in their proposal, would consider contributing to that project. So anyway, that's another one of mine. I've also put a
When
proposal.
I'm mayor, I'm going to make all them things happen, and I'm going to tell them it was all my idea.
Okay, as long as they happen. But this is where we're at. There's a fair few people there who are absolutely devoid of ideas, who suck the guts out of creative people who think outside the square and come up with these solutions, these ready-made solutions, and they're just insightful. At this planning day, I also put forward the concept that I believe that the next area that should be developed for industrial land in Temora should be along Teal Street. Now, Teal Street, and I'm talking in the area opposite the current landfill and sewage treatment works.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard proposals that should be developed for housing.
Right.
And I sit
Can't
there and
imagine I'd want to live opposite that close to the tip.
I
Really.
can't imagine as a local councillor that I would want to be in charge of the landfill and the sewage treatment works. And any problem with our equipment, any tip fire, any strong odours, any issues that we encounter will then impact on the quality of life of these people that we've allowed to build houses nearby.
Yeah.
I just think that's stupid beyond stupidity. That's like double down on stupid. That's double stupid.
Yeah.
That's triple stupid.
And you see things like that, not just with tips. You see where people buy cheap land around, I don't know, say car racing.
But even I had great issue with the rezoning of the land at the top of Loftus Street that has now been built into a subdivision that abuts immediately the existing industrial area.
Yeah.
And there will be friction at that interface because they're not mutually coexisting.
They don't cuddle well.
No. So you're putting conflicting uses against each other.
Like if you buy a house that's cheap, but it's over the road from the greyhound track, and then you get the shits that the greyhounds are on the running lane.
The dogs bark.
The dogs are barking.
The lights are bright.
Yeah,
There's bugs. There's bugs.
I bought really cheap property under the airstrip, but now I'm really annoyed because the planes go over.
Yes.
You need to stop the planes. Well, no, they were going over long before you bought your house, dickhead.
Yes.
The reason it was cheap was because...
But sensible foresight, and this was long-term strategic planning.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
If you want to have a long-term strategic plan, if you created a strip of industrial developments along that road, that would actually create a buffer and an actual physical barrier between these offensive
activities
and the greater residential area of Temora.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a very sensible consideration. So that's another one of mine that I planted the seed at this strategic development day.
Yep.
Okay, so bypass, next phase of the lake development, including wetland and water treatment to improve the water quality going into the lake.
Yep.
Next phase, industrial area.
Sounds fair.
Okay, they're the three that I own today. I've got patents on them. I have filed patents on them. I own those ideas.
Fair play, absolutely.
Now, if you want to hurt your head.
Oh, no, my head hurts often enough.
No, we've been going all right tonight.
We're going good.
I'll bring this stuff up next week because
yeah.
We've had a further development in the Code of Conduct fast. There's the Code of Conduct fast that really is the waste of money and the bullying exercise, the misuse of the Code of Conduct process. And I really want to go a little bit in depth with that.
Okay, well, yeah, let's do that one next week.
So we'll do that one next week.
We're an hour and 20 minutes in now. We don't want to get people getting cranky and
no, but just on it's a great concern to me because I was driving up Polaris Street the other day and I noticed that the mayor's balls were missing. Now
the mayor's balls were missing. Now I'm going to leave that wide open for those who are watching to interpret.
The mayor built a very impressive gateway, or had someone else build it for him, because I don't imagine he's got the wherewithal to build it himself.
Sure.
And I don't know whether you can weld in a suit.
You
probably can weld in a suit if you can weld.
I don't know. Look, my welding's pretty bloody average. I've done some very minor welding in my time, and I'm imagining that...
no, this has been welded by someone who can weld.
Okay, look, a professional.
Paint. You're not going to paint in a suit, are you?
Well,
you're probably not going to dig holes and concrete stuff in a suit.
I wouldn't imagine.
And
yeah, right. So what's happened?
And I never see the mayor wearing anything other than a suit.
No. I saw his slippers one time.
Really?
I saw his slippers one time. It was on Sky News.
His slippers.
Yep. I was sitting there, and I don't really watch Sky News much anymore, but I've had, as you know, a lot of friends who have been presenters and have been on there as guests and what have you. And I used to tune in any time they were on there, and now they're just saying, man, whatever. Oh, you did another show, good job, great, whatever. And I can't remember what show it was, but there was a pair of slippers, you know, when they do the screenshots of who's watching at home or whatever. And it was Rick Furman, Care of Temora, watching, might have been Paul Murray or whatever it was. But it was like, I'm sure it was his slippers, feet up on they didn't show anything else. He wasn't wearing his mayoral robes and
No bling.
no bling that not that I could see, but fairly confident with slippers. It was, I can't imagine there's any other Rick Furmans in Tomorrow that I'm not familiar with. But that was a few years ago. And I
There'd be
went,
no room for two.
no, but so what's happened to his balls?
Well, I don't know. They're gone.
They're gone. Yeah, right.
So, for anyone who wants to look, they're the balls, and they're massive.
Massive balls.
They're big, shiny balls, and they are huge.
Do you remember the South Park song where chocolate salty balls? Do you remember them?
I remember that song for Chef.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah. But these were big white balls, big shiny white balls, and they
You're
are
not allowed
huge.
to have white balls. That's racist. Somebody
No,
will
but
be
they're big.
offended.
No. These are big. These are as large as a basketball. They're big balls,
Big balls.
but they're not there anymore. They're gone.
They're gone. Well, there you go.
Would you believe
Maybe
that?
he's doing some remodeling.
But why would you go out on a limb and make such an impressive statement of ostentatiousness?
Look, I'll be honest. You
Look,
know, if I was going to do
that gateway says I'm important.
I'm going to do a gateway at my place.
I'm
and
gonna do a
I'm going to have
gateway.
a statue on my lawn of me.
Why don't
A
you
big
get
one.
big lions or something?
I might do that too, but I'm
Massive
and I'm
lions.
going to need arches.
Yes.
Big arches.
Yes.
Stairway to heaven or something.
Yep.
You know, I'll put something really, really over the
Well,
top.
but
I could do shit like that.
that's pretty big, isn't it?
It's fairly.
But what would make you?
It's a statement, Kate.
But what would make you then?
Lose your balls.
Yeah. Now, because there's a photograph today,
Yeah, right.
and there's no balls.
Don't know. Do they meet code?
Well,
Maybe you got trouble with the engineering director.
maybe they were that big that they needed a DA and he never got a DA and he's had to take them down because they weren't DA approved balls.
I don't know. I can't lie to you. I don't take that much notice of what other people are doing.
No, but when you drive past and you're just driving along and there's these two massive balls and you nearly crash. Like, and then you're driving along and you go, huh? No balls? Like, and seriously, like,
I wouldn't have paid that.
they
much.
were that big. Those balls were that big that they were, and shiny.
Shiny balls.
And they were like,
I can't say I've ever paid that much attention. I won't lie to you.
no, but they're like, when you get a statement of that magnitude.
Oh, maybe we should put my cornflakes on that fence. It's a very
It's
good. That'd
eye-catching.
be a very good fence for cornflakes.
The only thing I can put it down to, because I had to go online to get a photograph pre-castration. And the photograph comes up 24th of November.
Yeah,
So
right.
this has happened since November.
Tell you what, CSI tomorrow, get onto it. What's going on?
Well, was it the cold snap?
Could be.
Froze the balls off.
Could be. Maybe Doge has come in and gone,
No,
sorry,
but
that's
we had that cold snap, unseasonable cold snap recently.
We did.
They have
We did. The hail come on and everything. It was pretty wild.
It can be hard on the balls. So I don't know, but anyway,
It's an interesting concern. Look, if anybody's
the
found the
mayor's
balls,
lost his balls. If anyone's found the mayor's balls, drop them in at council and we can screw them back on. I don't know where they've gone. They were there.
now they're not.
Now they're not. The town is a lesser impressive place without those balls. No, seriously.
Yeah,
like,
look, no doubt.
they were on their way to becoming a tourist attraction.
Shit.
No, it's been mentioned by others in the community.
Is that right?
No, it's not just me.
Oh, really?
No,
I'm
there's-
starting to think you're going loopy here on this one.
No,
I'm like,
there's-
what?
There's others people
Other
who've
people
been
have
saying,
noticed this.
did you notice the balls are missing?
Yeah, no. I don't have conversations like that with people around town.
Other people have said to me, look, there's some balls missing, some very prominent
balls. Yeah.
that are no longer in situ.
Jeez.
So anyway, if anyone's found the balls, drop them in at council. I don't know what else to say. I don't know whether it was the cold snap. I don't know whether they've been affected by some sort of a red tape issue.
Red tape issue. Maybe they're not carbon neutral or something.
Maybe they didn't meet code.
They might not have met code. They might not meet the Paris Agreement.
We don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know where they've gone. And where would you put them?
I don't even want to know where you're going to put them.
When you take them down, like they're massive, where do you put them? I don't know. Did someone come along and say, those balls are so impressive, I'm going to offer you a price that you just can't refuse?
Can't refuse. Could be.
because I would have,
Tourists come past and was like, listen, hey, they're phenomenal.
it could have been the king of some African country that just said, I have to have those balls on my gate.
The gate's
They're
there
so
in an L.
impressive. Anyway,
It's a bit like that, yes, for sure.
if anyone's got any news on where the balls went, where the balls might be hiding,
APB out for a big set of balls.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
it just, I don't know. I just had to go, and for anyone who's got too much time on their hands,
I'm not going to lie to you. You've got more time on your hands than I do. If you've got time to notice that,
I
mate.
seriously suggest you take the opportunity this evening when this show's
Look,
when this
You
show's
need another
wrapped up.
code of conduct because you haven't got enough on your plate.
No, when this show's wrapped up tonight, just go and Google
I'm going to drive down past there tonight.
ACDC Big Balls, because they
Balls.
released a song in 1976 all about big balls, and I think it's really appropriate. Now, we can't play it on this show because then we'll have copyright issues.
Yes.
And
yes.
we'll be defunded even though we're not making
any money. No, it costs money to have a little program that rolls it all out to you.
Anyway.
Well, that's kind of funny. That's kind of amusing.
Well, I just don't get why someone would make such a statement and then unmake that statement.
Unmake the statement. Yeah, look,
And I don't know. There's got to be something more to it.
I reckon there's something definitely.
The cold snap, a problem with DA certification. Is there some sort of code that they don't meet?
Why is there a lack of balls?
Is it more sinister?
Could be more sinister, I reckon. Could be the Tomorrow underworld.
It could be.
Could be. Underbelly, tomorrow underbelly.
He's been putting a bit of pressure on the illicit tobacco trade.
Underbelly, the golden toilet.
Have they just come along and said, we're going to take your balls?
I
don't know.
It could be.
Anyway,
my goodness gracious.
Hopefully the community will knuckle down.
Find the balls.
Find the balls. We've got to know, because I'm telling you, it's serious. Like, if you're going to go out and make a statement of that magnitude and then change your mind, you've got to wonder what.
Anyway, I don't spend that much time wondering what goes on in those little heads and what's making them do what they're
Well, I
going to
don't
do.
know. It's just you see such a grand entrance and you expect to see a palace, but it's a weatherboard hut, a weatherboard cottage.
I like weatherboard. You know,
Yeah.
my
But
place
it's a little bit incongruous.
my place is a bit of a Taj Mahal, no doubt about it.
It's like a Colombian drug lord's entrance.
Pablo Escobar sitting down there
Yeah, it looks
with
like
his finest slippers and dressing gown on.
absolutely.
Bubble
What was
pipe.
his-
You know the bubble pipe like the kids have?
What was his name? The next one, the next Pablo's replacement. The bloke who had the tunnels everywhere.
Oh, El Chapo.
El Chapo.
El Chapo.
El Chapo.
El Chapo. That's the one. That could be the go.
Yeah.
Listen, tobacco coming out of the back and game on under the tunnels and Christ knows what.
Yeah, that could be.
It's a wild show.
There's stories about tunnels in Temora from the gold mining days.
Wouldn't surprise me.
El Chapo.
Mate, tomorrow's got a gangster history. Don't worry about that. There's plenty going on there.
Is it
People
El
don't have
Chapo?
to whisper and close doors. Don't forget, my first lot landed here in 1840 or something we worked out. First relatives of my clan landed in around Temora.
Did they have like white?
They probably did. They probably came in cuffs for sure. And so I have to ask Auntie Gale. She's got the full list of who it was because they were originally Garlics, I think she reckons.
Yeah.
She's done the family tree back 2 trillion years, and somehow I'm still here. It's got me baffled. But anyway,
No.
I think this place has got a fair bit of my DNA in it. It's a bit of a worry, really. You know, it's a bit of a worry. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else we need to tick off? Any must-dos?
Feedback from Kuta Gundagai, the demerger. Big roll out at Gundagai. They're very pro the demerger.
Yeah.
Kuta don't really care. I think there might have been 150 at the public inquiry or the public information element of it. For Gundagai, there was about 50 attended the Cootamundra one the next day. It was fairly stage managed. There wasn't much opportunity for anyone who wasn't on the authorised list of speakers to speak, and it was pretty stage managed. So make of that what you will. We've been through this process. We witnessed Charlie, ex-mayor of Kuta, basically saying
Charlie Sheen, non-cokehead.
saying this is rigged, I'm out.
Yep.
Will he be proven to be a soothsayer? A seer of the future?
He'll be in the paper accused of misinformation.
Will we be sitting here in 60 years' time and they'll be saying that they were talking about the demerger in the 60s? Well, anyway, it's about,
Not all heroes wear capes.
and I think
Although on occasion I will wear my undies over my pants just to remind people who's king.
just when you
Just because I can.
because you're in a hurry.
Wander out on the front lawn with his undies over my strides.
When you're in a hurry and you're having a bad morning.
Yeah. He's little. So I don't actually wear undies. I find them highly restrictive, and it's just not my bag, baby.
Well, don't lose your balls.
Oh look,
Keep your balls.
I'll tell you what. Now since we're being a bit funny and whatever. As someone who doesn't wear undies, there was a day at work where my strides split, and fortunately, there was a pair of boxer shorts out in the car, so I had to kind of go, oh shit! But I shut down and managed to had to do a test drive. I'm kind of going, yes,
And that's
it was all very awkward, but
that's all right when you're young and everything's where it's supposed to be.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Look, it was late in the day. Fortunately, it was kind of funny. It wasn't quite as over the top where I kind of went, oh guys, I'm gonna go home. This isn't going to work. But it was enough where, oops, that's a bit embarrassed. That could have been a real shocker. But yeah, we mere mortals on occasion do have things like that happen.
Wardrobe malfunctions,
or
bit of a nip out.
Things happen.
But anyway,
things happen.
I just hope we find the balls.
I'm fairly confident mine are all right.
Someone's got them. Someone's got them somewhere, and someone knows where they went. So we need to get to the bottom of this.
I think you need to do a meme with missing balls.
I think
missing balls.
Pete Marnie needs to do
He should run a front page
piece of investigative journalism. Something's got to give. We've got to know where the balls are.
Are these balls in my pocket?
Who's got the balls?
Goodness me. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the content as always. Obviously, sometimes it's a bit serious, sometimes it's a bit banderish, but it's always as honest and direct as we can make it. Obviously, the whole like, share, subscribe thing, whether you're watching on Twitter, whether you're watching, because this goes live to Twitter now. It also goes live to Facebook and our YouTube channel. So if you like it, give it a little click or throw it onto your mates. We don't run ads. We don't run sponsors. We don't do anything like that.
Spread it like COVID.
Spread it like COVID lies. That's probably a better one.
Spread it like COVID.
Spread it like the marketing campaign. But anyways, I hope everyone has a great week. We'll see you next Thursday. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
And we'll do it all
bigger,
again.
Better and better than ever.
Hopefully with more information on the
balls. And some balls.